We are Steve and Jill. Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show.
We answer that and more. Steve and Jill here.
Hi.
Welcome to the Land Academy Show, entertaining land investment talk. I'm Stephen Jack Putella.
And I'm Jill DeWitt, broadcasting from sunny Southern California.
Today, Jill and I talk about the fantastically interesting topic called taxes in your land business.
I'm excited.
Me too. I can't wait to talk about taxes. Now,
we talk about this often, all the time. Gosh, it's a topic that warms my heart.
The truth of it is it's pretty necessary, because if you do everything right, this is maybe the second or third or fourth most expensive line item in your expenses for your company. With ours, it's probably number 2 or 3.
True or false? If you do everything right, you're a little bit teary-eyed when tax time comes, however, that means you did well.
That's right.
Okay.
It's a bittersweet situation.
Oh, okay.
Before we get into it, let's take a question posted by one of our members on the landinvestors.com online community. It's free.
This is a long one, I will warn you. Chris asks, I'm new to the land business and looking for others to join an accountability group. Whether you just joined Land Academy as I did a few days ago or are otherwise somewhat new to the business, it's all good. I anticipate we'll be running into a lot of the same questions and hurdles around the same time as we do our research, get out our first mailers, mine will go out next week, filled our first phone calls, etc. More answers and knowledge than we could ever ask for are here in the forums, education /podcast /weekly calls, etc. So we're covered there. But what we can do is provide each other some accountability and encouragement as we rack up our first success stories. Not to mention learning from whatever unique talent /experience we each bring to the table. And that landed us in this business. And in parentheses, Chris says he's an experienced software developer and business owner himself.
Excellent.
That's great. Perhaps
Excellent.
A bi-weekly networking call over Zoom and a free Slack channel to stay in touch in the meantime. Anyone interested? Please reply to this thread or send me a PM, private message. Thanks.
And there were about 20 people in there that replied to this almost immediately.
I bet. This is a hot topic.
Right. So what do you think?
I think it's great. I think it's something we should do, and I think it's something we are doing.
Go ahead.
We are going to put together something for you. So in the meantime, Chris, I am so happy. And for those of you who have created your own groups, because you know that that's the one thing that you uniquely need. Some people do, some people don't. It doesn't matter. No way is right or wrong. It's just some people need it. And those, I'm so impressed and proud about everybody that have taken this on themselves and just said, I know I need someone making me check in and keeping me on track. And I think this is awesome.
So do I.
And our group has grown to the level where we have enough people, obviously, that this has become more of a thing. And so we're going to take it. We're going to provide tools and resources to help you.
This falls under the category for me of what could possibly be bad about this. What's bad about exercising? Nothing. Like, what's bad about more education? Nothing. So this, I think, accountability is one of the cornerstones of succeeding at anything. And so, since we started Land Academy, I'd love to know your opinion on this too. And we've been doing this for 5 or 6 years now. I've learned a lot of stuff. Jill and I are just natural born self-starters. Like, she can go off. I won't talk to her about a specific topic for 3 or 4 days and come back and say, okay, we've got 6 properties under contract. Here's the numbers. I think we're going to net this. I took the money out of this bank account, and do you have anything to say about it? Which I think the first time I had some stuff to say about it years ago. This is years and years ago, and it's just a self-starter, period. So am I. So I incorrectly assume everybody else is, and I think that this would be great, and we're working through how we're going to do it. We are going to do some version of this. A couple weeks ago, or a week ago, I guess, and we'll talk more about it on the Thursday call, if you remember, the Thursday webinar. we asked everybody to tell us what the next level of Land Academy, what they'd like out of it. And this is what came up the most, some type of accountability group. So this will develop itself, or we will develop some version of this pretty soon, actually.
It's like when you think about anything, you think about, I was just thinking about education. You know, if I was at there's some people that you give them the semester's work, right? Say you're in a college class. Some people, if they have the whole syllabus, it's kind of like me. It's kind of like I want to get through it and then goof off, you know, and read it. I kind of read ahead. I like to work ahead, have it done. So that means I can have more playtime on the backside.
I'm the same
That's
way.
my motivation.
Exactly
That's
the same
really
way.
the reason why.
Same personality.
And then there's people that they need week by week by week by week by week kind of thing. But either way, it's good to have. I'm just thinking, so I was thinking about college courses and how different people are different. And it doesn't mean you're better or smarter or anything like that. It's just how you roll, number one. And some people I know personally that will fall down if they don't have these deadlines. What's really interesting to me is that I think what you and I do, what's different is you and I create self-imposed deadlines. And some people can't do that.
Yeah.
I really think that's the difference. And then they can't, and if they do, they can't stick to them. And that's where this comes into.
So I was thinking about this because I've really spent a lot of time on this, and it will come to reality. Mm-hmm. Nowhere in college is there a class called, in your senior year, how to interview.
Yeah.
Or how to find a job. Or maybe there is now, but there certainly wasn't when I had it. Right. That would have been maybe the most useful class there ever was.
Exactly.
Or mandatory job fair on Tuesday.
Why is that? We had a home ec. We talked about this today.
Yeah.
I had a home ec where I learned how to make a dress, but no one taught me how to fill out a resume.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
And especially at college, there should be some type of course. I think there are. I think community college is packed full of stuff like this. But I think the universities don't do it, or maybe they do now.
I don't know.
They should have a course like personal finances.
That would be
how to mortgage a house, how to get through your life.
Why not?
That's the course. The course should be called how to get through your life.
Why not take out a new credit card to pay off X? Don't do that.
All of that.
People, it's a good one.
So that's what this kind of is.
Okay.
And it's based obviously on the knowledge that we've developed on how to buy and sell land. Mm-hmm. It's based on a massive amount of mistakes that Jill and I made collectively and individually to help you not make those mistakes.
What was your latest mistake?
Oh, geez. Personally or socially?
Oh, wait. Aren't they the same, like business or social?
I'll answer it.
All right, go ahead.
If you do too, though, after this.
Okay.
The most recent business mistake that I made.
Oh, you're going business?
It's recent. No, it's like in the last few days. Is getting some extremely high level private equity people involved in this big picture mobile home thing that I'm working on, to the point where they're trying to take it over, and we're still in the discussion stages, and it's pretty funny that here's what I came out of that with. There's an incredible amount of low level work and attention that's required to succeed at anything, operation stuff, and failing and succeeding and one deal at a time kind of thing, and then you get to 10, and then you get to 100. Private equity groups in general will raise a fund, $500 million fund, and say, let's go buy as many mobile home parks as we possibly can. We're going to put a management company in place that's very expensive, nationally recognized, because that's the easiest way to raise capital. It's all capital driven, and then let's just kind of see what happens. And that's just... Oh, and by the way, here's a 2-inch contract that you need to sign, and if something goes wrong, we get to take your house and your kids and every other company that you own.
Right. Personal guarantee. No, thank you.
So I didn't actually get it. To answer your question directly, I didn't let it get to the point where it could have been a mistake, but you get to a point in your life where things are going great. And we get opportunities, Jill and I, to double our income and revenue and triple it sometimes with all kinds of stuff. Mm-hmm. Do we need to do that and complicate our lives?
Right.
What's the most recent business mistake you've made?
You know what's funny? It's a little bit of accountability. I have a project that I started a couple years ago. And I even paid $5,000 to hold myself accountable. I can't believe I'm admitting this. It's obviously not important to me. You know, if things are important to you, you follow through. If they're not important to you, they don't follow through. But I started a project a while back, and I let it go, keep pushing it down on the to-do list, and I need to bring it back on the to-do list. So it's holding myself. You know what's, for Land Academy, I have no trouble. I am here. I show up. I do everything. I'm here for our community.
Yeah.
I'm here for the shows.
Me too.
The calls, you name it. I'll get pulled out of stuff. But my own little personal projects that I do, I push those down. And I don't know why I sounded that it's so. I gotta work on that.
That's not good.
I know, it's okay, because you know what? This other stuff brings me such joy that, and it.
No, I'll tell you. Ironically, this isn't the topic. We will get to the topic
Exactly.
in a second.
Eventually.
You know, our last child is still in the house. He's 17, and I incorrectly assumed that he was as much of a self-starter as Jill and I are. And so now we're gonna have to take a bunch of steps back and really, if you're a parent, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and kind of retrace our steps back and say, okay, all right, you know, he's not as much of a self-starter as I thought. He's kind of making some decisions that he shouldn't be. Some of it's COVID, some of it's not. You know, it doesn't matter. It's just like, it's life. It's life stuff. It's not just owning a business.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Today's topic, taxes and your land business. This is the meat of the show.
Everybody's like, finally, thanks.
I know.
Jeez.
No, they just hit the fast forward button.
Oh, that's it.
Like when you're watching a movie
Skim, got it.
with an Apple product, you can plus 10 seconds.
Yeah.
On the TV, you just hit it until you, okay, yeah, so this is the topic anyway.
Does it sound like we're avoiding talking about taxes? Because maybe we are.
Just like real life.
Because nobody wants to talk about it.
I got several questions about 1031 exchanges recently. It's kind of a topic actually also in land investors. So here's the deal. 1031 exchange is a way to postpone paying capital gains taxes on real estate and some other types of assets. So if I'm an accountant happily going along and Jill's a lawyer happily going along and we buy a mobile home park and it gets improved and everything's great, and a couple years later or a few years later or whatever the numbers end up being, we decide to sell it. We make $1 million. We are very subject to capital gains. And so we're pretty heavily taxed on that. As an alternative, this is years, and 1031 exchanges are ancient. They go way before me. They started. As an alternative, when we go to sell that and we made $1 million on it, we can go buy a like kind piece of property. In this case, for in the simplest terms, buy another mobile home park. Probably because we have so much capital now, put a little bit more money down, and then go do the same thing, and on and on and on. It's the government's way, in a healthy way, I think, to encourage us to continue to keep putting money back into real estate and money back into the market, so everybody kind of wins. That's the theory anyway. The question becomes, okay, great. I just joined Land Academy. I don't want to pay taxes I'm buying these pieces of land anyway. I'm going to buy another one next month, and if everything goes great, I'm going to buy two a month after that. And so don't want to pay taxes on it. I want it's called 1031ing your way up to exit, is what I call it. If this is your business, and please, I need to disclaim this. Joe, you said this right before the show. We're not accountants. You know, I have an accounting background. Stuff changes all the time. You can't take my word. Don't run out there based on this information that you're getting solely on the show and go do this stuff. Check with accountants. I hope this goes without saying. You know, I hate when people disclaim stuff.
But you need to.
We have to.
Uh-huh.
The way that Jill and I buy real estate, and the way that most people who have been in this for a while buy real estate, it falls under ordinary income, the same way it would if you own a convenience store. So that's the same type of taxation that you follow it. So can you 1031 your way up to an exit strategy with land? Maybe if you're a full-time accountant and you're doing this stuff on the side, but even then, I'm not sure. Check with your accountant. I don't think you can. So what ends up happening, what's the real deal with taxes in your land business? You're going to pay federal income tax You are going to be taxed in an ordinary income fashion, just like you own any type of company. I always use a convenience store. So you have 50 convenience stores, they make a bunch of money, you're going to file a tax return at the end. That just the way that you would anyway. But I'll tell you, here's some friendly tip. The feds love W-2 income withholding. It's been that way since as long as I can remember. And they give you some pretty good tax advantages for it if you structured it in an LLC. So talk to your accountant and make sure that you're maximizing your tax benefit with meaning you give yourself a paycheck when you can. So all of this matters when you're making money. None of this matters in the first probably 2 or 3 years of doing this.
Part-time or part-time until you're full-time.
Yeah, until you got an LLC, you quit your job, and you're rolling some money in, and then you got to really get serious about it.
Right.
There's several people that I've seen professionally throughout my career, not necessarily just with land, but in all types of businesses, that let the tax tail wag the dog. They're obsessed. I can't pay any taxes. I've got to do this. I've got to do this. I'm going to put my money into the stock market. There's all endless tax advantages that you can reduce your taxation down to a minimal amount within the limits of the law. It's it's no funny business. All the rich people I know, and Jill and I know a bunch of rich people, way more wealthy than us, say some version of this: pay your taxes.
Yeah, I was going to say one thing too. I have learned, I personally experienced, and then I've talked to people in our community that have experienced this too. Different accountants give you different feedback. And it's not necessarily state driven. I just think it's how they interpret the rules. So I just wanted to say, don't go with that first accountant that you call and says this is the way it is. A, B, C, D. I would interview a couple accountants, kind of like interviewing brokers. It's like if I want to get a broker's opinion on a property, I'm going to call a couple different brokers, and I'm going to see 2 are on the same page, and then I'm going to mesh with one of them. I really want you to do that with an accountant too. I want you to interview like five accountants, and there's going to be 2 or 3 that are on the same page, that they are saying the same thing. You're like, all right, I believe these guys to be knowledgeable. These 3 are all in general consensus. This guy's way over here, and this guy's way over here about what I should do. These 3 are in the general consensus of what's the right way to run my business and file my taxes. And then I want you to pick the one that is responsive and you mesh with.
I mean, in layman terms, what she's saying, and she's absolutely right, is this. There are some accountants who are so incredibly conservative, and they read the IRC, the Internal Revenue Code, and they say, all right, so for every state you buy a piece of property in this year, you have to file a state tax return. And just to be safe, because we want to make sure we do it right, we're going to file each state tax return on the federal level amount, because that's how it works. And you will tax yourself out of business if you do that overnight. So there are some accountants that say, you know what, come on over here. Come over here.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay any taxes. I'm going to show you how. So you don't want that. You don't want either extreme of that in any way. Jill's right.
Thank you. Yeah, I've talked to accountants. It's like there's a sweet spot. I love usually like a pilot. I would like an older, seasoned pilot who's been through all kinds of stuff. An accountant, I kind of want an older, seasoned accountant, but not one that's so old that he doesn't read all the new stuff. I don't want, and I've had attorneys and accountants like this in the past that were like, this is not going to work, because they've said, look, I've been doing it this way since 1962. And we're not going to change it. I'm like, well, you know what? Things have changed since you started this in 1962.
Things changed last week with taxes.
Exactly.
That's one of these things you really need to be up on it.
Yeah. Truth time. We are personally transitioning to a different accountant / financial planner. We're interviewing right now and probably going to make a switch because we've kind of outgrown our guy. Yeah. And it's not that he's a great guy. We love him. He was great, but we're dancing in a different level of finances that are a little bit beyond his expertise.
We've really grown in the last few years, and our tax, just the raw tax dollars that we're spending now, are massive. It's in the 7 digits. So It just need to be looked at. There's a lot of long-term planning. What's missing from our tax situation is long-term planning. We take a look at everything in September, October, right about now, and make some adjustments to make sure that we hit our goals, both revenue and net income wise, by the December 31st. But there's more to it more to it than that now. There's long-term planning.
Exactly. Whew. I know.
That was painful.
That's a tough topic, but I think it's a good topic. I think everybody wants to know it. I wish there was a one size fits all, but there isn't. I'm sure you tuned in hoping that we can say do A, B, C, D, and E, and you're set. Unfortunately, it's not that easy.
And I'll tell you one last thing about this topic. There's something about this topic. There's a few topics in the world like this in the planet. This topic, for some reason, if it ever reaches any type of forum, or it comes up once in a while on our Thursday call as a question, it just becomes this heated, massive debate about the right way to do it. And Jill nailed it. There's no right way to do it. It's what's right for you. Mm-hmm. It's just like, how politics just enrage certain people. For some reason, this topic enrages certain people. And we all know these people professionally, and if you go to dinner and start talking about taxes, you might as well excuse yourself.
Or just bring up religion, or bring up anything. Yeah.
It just sends some. I've never heard a woman get enraged over taxes, but it's just older men for some reason. And I don't mean mad about paying taxes. Yeah, no one's happy when they pay taxes. I don't think.
Oh, dig their heels in about
just angry, just livid. Or no, you got it wrong. This is how you do a 1031 exchange. People listening to this right now are out. They're probably throwing their stuff all around the room. Certain people. It just makes, and this is good. It'll be on YouTube. Watch the comments on YouTube. These guys don't know what they're talking about. He's got this, that. It's hilarious.
Everybody has their own opinion.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I've been doing 1031 exchanges since 1959. I haven't paid $1 of taxes. First of all, if that's true, why would you say it out loud? Because they're going to come for you.
Yeah. Now they know where you live. Thank you.
I'm happy we could join us today.
5 days a week, you can find us here on the Land Academy Show.
Tomorrow, the episode on the Land Academy Show is called Math on Rental Property versus in Buying, Reselling Land. You are not alone in your real estate ambition. Now, that's a fun topic.
Are you going to have numbers for us, or is it big picture
stuff?
Sure.
It's I can create numbers in my head very quickly.
Curious.
I mean, here's a little prelude to it. Okay. I mean, we're going to look at spending $400,000 on a house, or $300,000. I think the national average now is like $300,000. If you're going to spend $300,000, leveraged or not, what do you want to? How can you maximize that money in real estate? That's what this is really about. Okay. Because everybody who starts off in real estate, me included, probably Jill included, I don't know, we'll find out tomorrow, started with houses. It's just what we know. Yeah. We live in a house. Our parents bought and sold a house. Some of us.
We all watched it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you found our content valuable, and we appreciate your support. If you haven't already, please check out our YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the type of content that you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.
We are Steve and Jill.
Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.